This is 70s Sitcom Flashback, the show that looks back at the sitcoms that defined the 1970s. Your hosts are Robbie and Terry, both 15. Every week they break it down so you actually get it.
Flashback, the show that looks back at the sitcoms that defined the 1970s. I'm Terry.
And I'm Robbie, and today we're talking about one of the coolest characters to ever grace a TV screen, Arthur Fonzarelli, aka the Fonz.
Happy Days premiered in 1974, and it was basically a love letter to the 1950s, all sock hops and diners and leather jackets.
The show was set in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it followed the Cunningham family, but let's be honest, everyone came for the guy in the garage apartment.
Henry Winkler played the Fonz, and he was originally supposed to be a minor character. A minor character, can you imagine?
Right? Like imagine hiring a golden retriever puppy to be a background dog and then being surprised when everyone only watches the puppy.
The Fonz started out with maybe a few lines per episode, but audiences went absolutely nuts for him. So the writers kept giving him more and more screen time.
By season 2, he was basically the co-lead, and by season 3, he had moved into the apartment above the Cunningham's garage, which made no logical sense, but we all accepted it.
Henry Winkler actually based the Fonz partly on a real person, a tough but kind guy he'd known, someone who used confidence as a kind of armor.
That's what made Fonzie work, I think. He wasn't just cool for cool's sake. He genuinely looked out for Richie Cunningham and the gang.
Ron Howard played Richie, and he was technically the main character, the wholesome, freckled, all-American kid, sweet guy, but not exactly leather jacket material.
No offense to Richie, he was great. He was the vanilla ice cream that made the hot fudge look even better.
The Fonz had this signature move. He'd point his thumbs up and say, "Ay," and it became one of the most imitated catchphrases of the entire decade.
Kids were doing it in school hallways, parents were doing it at dinner tables, and probably grandparents were doing it while not totally understanding why.
The show ran for 11 seasons from 1974 all the way to 1984. 11 seasons, that's basically a geological era in television years.
At its peak, Happy Days was pulling in something like 30 million viewers per episode. 30 million. That's almost the entire population of Canada tuning in every week.
And a huge chunk of those viewers were there for Fonzie. The character was so popular, he got his own spin-off, Joni Loves Chachi, and inspired mountains of merchandise.
Fonzie lunchboxes, Fonzie dolls, Fonzie posters. If you could stick a thumbs up on it, someone in the 1970s was selling it.
Here's a wild fact. When the Smithsonian Institution put Fonzie's leather jacket on display, it became one of their most visited pop culture artifacts. A fictional character's jacket in a national museum.
Which honestly feels right. That jacket is basically a historical document at this point. It says, here is what cool looked like in 1976.
Now we have to talk about the phrase jumping the shark because it comes directly from Happy Days and it changed the English language.
In a season 5 episode, Fonzie, on water skis, still wearing the leather jacket, literally jumps over a live shark on water skis in the ocean.
The scene was so over the top that a TV critic named John Hine later coined the phrase jumping the shark to describe the moment a show runs out of ideas.
And now the phrase is everywhere. Politicians jump the shark, movies jump the shark, your favorite band jumps the shark when they release an album of holiday songs.
To be fair to Happy Days, the show actually kept going for 7 more seasons after the shark jump, so maybe the shark was not as fatal as advertised.
The shark was just a speed bump. A live, toothy, oceanic speed bump.
Henry Winkler has talked about how playing Fonzie changed his life, but also how he was dealing with undiagnosed dyslexia the whole time he was on the show.
He couldn't read the scripts easily, so he memorized everything by listening and watching. He's since become a huge advocate for kids with learning differences, which is genuinely great.
So the coolest guy on TV was secretly working twice as hard as everyone else just to be there. That's a real story.
It makes the character even better, honestly. Fonzie was someone who figured out his own way to do things. Turns out, so was Henry Winkler.
The show also had a massive cultural impact on actual libraries. After a storyline where Fonzie got a library card, library signups reportedly spiked across the country.
The Fonz getting kids to join the library. That is possibly the most wholesome thing a fictional greaser has ever done for society.
Happy Days also launched several other spin-offs besides Joni Loves Chachi, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, and even a show called Blansky's Beauties that nobody remembers.
Mork and Mindy introduced the world to Robin Williams, so Happy Days indirectly gave us one of the greatest comedians who ever lived. Not a bad legacy.
The show painted a very nostalgic, rosy picture of the 1950s, which was intentional. It came out right after Watergate and during a pretty rough stretch for America.
People wanted a simpler time, a diner with great milkshakes, and a guy who could fix a jukebox just by hitting it. Relatable, honestly.
The Fonz became a symbol of that comfort. Tough on the outside, loyal on the inside, always there when you needed him, and deeply, magnificently cool.
Happy Days reminded a whole generation that television could be warm and funny without being mean, which feels worth remembering right now.
Henry Winkler is still out there, by the way, still working, still wonderful, still making people smile. The leather jacket may be in the Smithsonian, but the man is very much with us.
And somewhere right now, someone is doing the thumbs up and the A and making everybody in the room groan and smile at exactly the same time.
That's the Fonz effect. 50 years later, and it still works.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. And hey, if you haven't watched Happy Days, go find it, because some things are cool in every decade. See you next week on 70s Sitcom Flashback.